All right. So welcome, everyone. We today are going to talk about our Oxford travel seminar, and we're just going to go through introductions. I'm going to talk a little bit about spring 2021 and because there is a lot of uncertainty with that. Then we'll get into the academics and on-site arrangements, as well as the program fee, financial aid, and the application process, and then answer any other questions you might have. So Sheldon, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Emily. My name's Sheldon Solomon, and I teach in the psychology department at Skidmore, and I'm delighted to be part of this program. I think it'll be a lot of fun and tremendously productive.
Great. And my name is Emily Gall. I work in the Off-Campus Study and Exchanges office, and I work closely with all the professors that lead these and students to get their applications going and also make all the on-site arrangements. So spring 2021, a lot of students are asking what does this look like? And I can't give anyone a firm answer about this because we don't know how things are going to evolve. At this point, we're moving forward with planning for spring 2021, specifically the travel seminars, because we do have some hope that by this program doesn't start till June, so by June things might have gotten better and students are able to travel, and the UK is able to host our students, Oxford specifically. But again, we don't know. The nice thing about this program is that you can apply and we could cancel the program up until May, and you wouldn't be out any spring course credits. It would be your spring or summer plans that could be disrupted, but I think that's just going to be the norm for the next year or so, just flexibility and patience. And that's why I have this flexible pencil there, because it was the image that came to mind when I thought about what a student might need to think about when they're planning for spring 2021 abroad or summer 21 abroad, because we don't know how things are going to evolve. We will do our best to accommodate students, but we also have to be very mindful of local regulations, the US Department of State ratings for countries, and just the basic health and safety of all of our students and staff. So all of that is taken into consideration as we move forward with planning. So we just ask that you are patient with us and flexible in terms of how this program might evolve. So Sheldon, do you want to talk a little bit about, there's not really an on-campus component, but any pre-program preparation that they might have to do in the spring?
Well, yes and no. So there is no formal course that precedes the program, but what I would hope to do, and this would be at everybody's convenience and not overly time-consuming, would to just be gather the group so that we can introduce ourselves to each other and kind of collectively cogitate about everybody's interests. I don't know if this is the time to talk a little bit about the program at Oxford itself. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Emily. So basically, my long story is that this experience is actually based on a first-year seminar at Skidmore, one of our Scribner seminars called Human Dilemmas. And although it is a relatively upper-level honors kind of rendering of that. And so Human Dilemmas is a course that's just based on the overarching question of what does it mean to be a human being? And it focuses on the intersection of philosophy and psychology and theology and the humanities and social sciences in general, to just look at what it means to be a human being from a variety of disciplinary perspectives. And then, to make a short story long, about 6 years ago, several honors programs from different universities in the US, University of Tennessee, Boise State University, and then a college in New York, St. Joseph's College, they contacted me and they wanted to bring elements of the Human Dilemmas course to an Oxford summer program. And the idea would be to come to Oxford, some students from each of the schools, and to think about these ideas. And so a lot of the content overlaps with these broad existential considerations. It's also the opportunity to mingle with folks from other schools. And so we wanted to have the content be very broad and of interest to everybody. And then we wanted the excitement that comes from not only being with your fellow Skidmore students, but also from very good students at other US schools. And then was the opportunity to be in residence at one of the best universities on the planet. And Oxford's a very special place because the faculty actually live on the campus, not in the same dorm, but with the students. It's called the tutorial system. And the way that works, therefore, is that there'll be sessions where all of the students get together. That would look just like school, where there's presentations, lectures, demonstrations. But then a large amount of what happens thereafter is essentially individual students who then pursue their own interests in collaboration with the faculty, both from Oxford and from these other schools. And what that allows is for everybody to develop their own interests and to take advantage of being on the Oxford campus in the town of Oxford, and of course to be in England. And so when we're not on academic days, students have a lot of latitude to travel anywhere from like London to go see a Shakespeare play, or Stonehenge to see where religion started, or maybe even to just wander around Oxford and see what the world looked like in the 1500s. And I guess that's my short overview of what happens. This would be my fourth time going, and I must say it's some of the most exhilarating times that I've had. And I'm still in touch with a lot of the students from my first time in 2015. And what they tell me is that they're still in touch with the friends that they made from the other schools while they were here. So anyway, I know I'm sounding like a cheerleader, but I really found it to be quite invigorating. And I have found that it really brings the best out of students when they get a little bit of choice about what it is that they want to do, and then have the opportunity to talk with some of the best people on the planet to help them refine their interests.
Great. Sounds great. Thank you for that overview. I know you're very passionate about this, so we're excited to be able to offer this for the spring semester, and you have experience on the program. So just quickly, just in terms of academic expectations, can you just talk a little bit about what that looks like on site? Because it's different than being on campus for.
Yes. Well, essentially, in the spirit of the Oxford tutorial method, basically the only requirement is active participation and attendance in all of the common events. And there's an expectation that everybody comes prepared to engage in intelligent discussion. And my experience is that that has never been problematic. That the kind of students that sign up for this kind of experience tend to be the sort that would do this anyway. There'll be readings, and yes, we want folks to be aware of them. And then what has happened, at least for the students that I have worked with, is we've just had an agreement either prior to the experience or while we're at Oxford, where each student essentially works with me to determine a set of assignments upon which I will determine a grade for them. And so some students write a more or less traditional paper describing what they've read. Others get interested in a particular topic and say, no, I want to work on this. Other students are like, well, I'm a painter. Can't I paint a picture? And well, of course, I'm a novelist. I want to write a story about this. And so that's kind of one thing that's slightly different than a traditional course that's much more designed to be in the spirit of an Oxford education, where students are asked to define the parameters of what it is that they're attempting to do.
Great. And then just to add that this is a graded course, it's a summer-only course, so it'll show up on your transcript as a summer course, and grades are submitted as soon as you're done, within a couple of weeks. So you'll see that on your transcript. And then in terms of on-site activities and excursions, right now, again, I have to just kind of preface this with saying that these are all tentative and subject to change based on local restrictions. So we have to just make sure that it's safe for groups to go on excursions together. Might be in smaller groups. You might be restricted as to where you can go, but some examples of trips would be to Stonehenge, London, and then Salisbury, and those would be included in the program fee as far as I understand. In terms of accommodation and meals, so you will live in the dorms at Oxford, or at St. Hilda's College, which is one of the colleges within Oxford University. They also have a cafeteria that you would take your meals. And all of that is included in the program fee as part of your program fee. You might choose to eat meals elsewhere, so you'd want to budget for those meals if you wanted to. Flights for this program, because it's a summer-only program and students will be coming, and it's much later, it's later in the summer, you'd be responsible for your own flights to and from London, and then either the train or the bus to Oxford. And there is a shuttle that goes straight from London Heathrow to Oxford, so you don't have to worry about making a lot of transfers or any of that. So it's pretty convenient, but just know that you have to book your own flights, and then we will require you to submit those flight details to us before you depart, so that we know when you expect to arrive. In terms of the program fee and financial aid, so we're still working on the details of this with our partners at Boise State and University of Tennessee. So where it's estimated to be between $4,500 and $5,000, and that does not, please remember, that doesn't include your flight. It does include tuition, because this is a summer program. It's not included in your spring tuition. Some of your meals, obviously your accommodation, and then activities. And there's no financial aid for this because it is a summer-only program. We are going to work our best to reduce the program fee as low as we can go, still covering costs. So again, as we get closer to the February 15th deadline, we'll have a much better idea what the exact cost will be. And also just make sure, if you don't have a valid passport yet, or need to renew it, that you do that as soon as possible. Passports are being delayed, so they're currently processing passports that were sent in May and June and early July. So as you can see, they're pretty behind. So allow a lot of extra time if you need to renew your passport. And also just a note, you don't need a visa. US citizens don't need a visa to enter the UK. They'll enter as tourists as long as tourism is back to normal. But students with international passports will have to work with them individually to see what is necessary for them to enter the UK. The application process, as I mentioned, the deadline for this is February 15th. I know in some places this is October 15th, but it is February 15th. To be eligible to go on any travel seminar, you have to be in good academic and social standing with the college, and we do a check on that. Meet any prerequisites, which I don't believe there are any for this program, and then at least have a 2.75 GPA. The application is all done online on our website, skidmore.edu/OCSE. There's a variety of different signature documents, which are just our policies and procedures that you have to sign off on, read and sign off on. We check your social and academic standing. There's a personal statement, and then you need to upload your unofficial transcript. Oh, not 12 letters of recommendation. I thought I changed this. You need 2 letters of recommendation for this travel seminar. And those obviously are submitted online through our application system. So you don't need to go to your professor and ask them to write a letter. They just need to fill out the form that's emailed through the system. And there's a $250 non-refundable deposit as part of your application. This will be refunded, obviously, if we don't run the program, or if you cancel, like let's say you're offered a spot after the February 15th deadline, and then before you commit, you decide that you're not going to do it, we would refund it in between that time. But if you do commit to the program, we start making plans right away and counting on your participation, so that $250 would not be refunded. That is also put towards your program fee balance that the bursar will eventually charge your student account. So I think that was a very quick overview. We have a few minutes if anyone has any questions about travel seminar or the process, application process.
I have a quick question. So in the previous slide, you went over the requirements for the application process. So if we were to fulfill all of these, is there any reason why we wouldn't be offered a spot on the trip?
Not necessarily. We might have a enrollment cap, so that would be the only way we would then have a wait list. But in general, unless there's any like huge red flags with your recommendations, generally students are accepted and you meet the eligibility.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you all for coming today. We are excited about this, and we really hope that by June we'll be able to offer it. And if you have any questions, that's my email address at the bottom. I'm happy to talk with you or connect you to Professor Solomon to learn more if you have specific questions about the travel seminar piece. But thank you both for your time, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.